fast, or we are getting aware? The information is getting around faster.
Yeah, I think there's an increase of reporting rather than there's an increase of population, because anyway we can't comment on population because we don't know what it was before and now. So because we can't really rely upon the the numbers that have been put out right now. So I think there's an increase of reporting, and because of development in areas like Colombo and some parts in other urban areas, people are now beginning to see crocodiles more often than previous before. So, for example, like Athidia, yes, those animals have been there for Athidia, the one now Evalawata, they have been there for almost 500 years. There are reports of Portuguese were throwing people, Sinhalese people as prisoners to feed crocodiles. So people I think have started seeing crocodiles more often than before. Yeah.
What is the breeding season? How often do they breed?
Breeding season. So I have a slide separately for identification. I don't know if there's time for that, and also with let me just get there. So the breeding season for salties is around May to August, right? And mugger crocodiles from June to August. That's how the breeding season is for those two. Yeah. So let me just go to aspect where so there is mugger crocodiles would use they would dig a hole and they lay the nests, lay the eggs, whereas salties will build mound nests in mangrove areas. Yeah.
Sri Lanka, the eastern, the westernmost edge of the range of saltwater crocodile.
The most reliable source is around Kuliapitiya, but there is discussion and some records, personal communication saying that there are reports around Iluvankulam area which needs to be confirmed. Yeah.
Global.
Okay, I'm sorry, yeah.
Are we thinking of the western edge?
Of saltwater crocodiles? Yeah. Yes.
They don't go further.
There are occasional records in Seychelles. Apart from that, no. Those are just, yeah. Coexistence, I think this Bondala is one example. Coexistence is hardly possible because the saltwater crocodile is highly territorial. Although I've observed in Bondala and some parts in Yala, like Handunurua, Digangwala, you find salties occasionally in those areas. Yeah. And most of them could be translocated ones, but I think they could be animals coming from the south, moving eastwards, coming to the lagoon areas in Yala. Yeah.
Is there poaching of crocodiles specifically for meat?
For meat, yeah, there is. Yes. Like one famous area is Jaila, Kandahar. People hunt crocodiles during the church feast. They use it for bite and all that. Yeah. And then another area is Anuradhapura area, where I think Mr. Anselm is the one who recorded this, where he found villagers curing meat for as a practice.
I noticed that in the south, in the Hambantota district, the fishermen kill crocodiles because they get entangled in the net, so there is a bit of a conflict in that sense.
Yeah.
Not predation, crocodiles killing humans or experiments, but they kill the crocodile, actively kill them because they rig their nets and falls.
Yeah, that happens. Big ones, they kill the big ones. Even it happens accidentally as well. The nets they put across rivers and estuaries, juveniles get caught to it, and they die because because of they drown. And active killing is also happening when they get entangled to nets. Yeah. And I think a rapid awareness program should be conducted in areas like that where it's been identified.
Because they believe, I talked to some of them, they believe that they decrease the fish stock.
Ah, yes. I don't think they may. I mean, humans are also apex predators, so it's a conflict between two apex predators there. I heard this is happening in Udolaway as well, where they have allowed people to fish, and they started killing the crocodiles, thinking that they are in competition. Uh, there is a partly a truth for that because crocodiles are very happy with the fish and the frogs they have around them, so they do eat a lot of fish than going for bigger mammals and bigger animals. So most of their diet is comprised of small fish, even the big ones. Even the big ones would eat fish. They would even go for tiny fish that's in the water. Yeah. Sorry, I can't hear. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the reason they removed, I think, is because people got scared just seeing the boards, and yeah, that's what happened. And when I went and approached some people around government agents around Bolgoda, that's what they said. That they're afraid to put up boards because people will be discouraged, and it will create an unnecessary fear among people. I said, just go ahead. I mean, there are crocodiles. People will see them eventually. It's good to put up a warning, especially like places in the walking paths in Belang with the Artidia. It's also good to have like a small fence of about say 4 feet. That'll definitely discourage animals from coming in, but it won't stop them. If they want to, they can come. This I think was implemented in some parts in the east coast where there are some hotels close by adjoining canals and waterways in the east coast. So I think boards should be put up and warn people. That'll be a good way. Yeah, and yeah, and also limit people from engaging in unnecessary, unsafe activities like for example in the Yavanana there's kayaking and canoeing going on. So it should be discouraged. Any other questions?
So what about crocodile farms? Are there any possibilities of crocodile farms?
Like I said, there should be some sort of containment facility, and I think that can be used to attract tourists around to take a look and make themselves aware of it. But farms, I don't think there's a requirement because farms would mean killing them for food, etc. Killing them for food and all that. So it's just not yeah.
Because in certain parts of Thailand, I think they are using, crocodile skin is very, very expensive.
Yeah.
And I think they are doing it in a commercial way.
Yeah, it's a commercial way. They claim that it's done in a way to control the crocodile population, which they have no idea about. They think it's really high, but the Siamese crocodile has almost got extinct in Thailand, and saltwater crocodiles, we have no idea if they're still existing in those areas. So, and most of the crocodiles in those areas are, not natural populations at all. Yeah, in the farm. So it's just a commercialized thing. And also they're having crocodiles. They extract blood out of crocodiles to make tablets, saying that it'll increase virility and also longevity of people. It's also something crazy. Yeah.
May I know from the propagation of cycle, like how many times
All right, yeah. So there is no okay. So roughly, for the to answer directly at your question, we don't know what the propagation rate in in Sri Lanka. So that's what can be done. That's something that we find out during surveys by studying the wet and dry seasons, because during the dry season in the wet zone would mean that's when the breeding season happens. So by September, November, October, you get like of a total population, 70% or so are just hatchlings. So that's when you understand, this is from the research that I've done, and so it's very important to do that and see where the propagation sites are, and what the numbers are, and how they are, how many of them survive uh, after they are born. So the numbers drastically go down when we survey during the dry season of the hatchling. So only a couple of those animals survive later on. Yeah.
What is average lifespan of
Ah, so average is about 60 to 70 years. 60 to 70 years. There is one crocodile in Australia that's they say it's about 104 years old or something. Yeah, in captivity. It's a salty, a big salty.
What would be the estimated population of crocodiles in Bolgod and
Well, I managed to survey only one part of the one part of Bogota as a pilot survey, and I managed to count a total of this is an area of about 12 kilometers, and I managed to count about 15 non-hatchlings, and the rest of the 7 I counted were hatchlings. So you disregard all the hatchlings and you consider the non-hatchlings as a population. Yeah. So I believe you put that in a total area of about. So I think there could be about 30 to 40 non-hatchlings, nothing more than that. Yeah. Pardon? Yeah. There are strong rules, in fact. The strong rules, in fact. So after the after the enactment of the Fauna and Flora Protection Ordinance in 1937, it was in 1964 that they brought rules to protect the animals and stop them from hunting. Although it was permitted from that law itself to hunt animals that are responsible for human destruction, but in 2009, the 22nd Amendment in Section 31, under Schedule 2, crocodiles are listed as highly protected animals. So you can't kill or do anything to a crocodile. You can't have any sort of part of a crocodile, even a teeth, or transport it anywhere. You can get you can be penalized for that. But people are just catching crocodiles as a trend now. It has been, I think it was after 2012 when a group of people caught a crocodile and named it the man-eating crocodile in the Nilula River, and I think that set off a series of captures of crocodiles among by village kids and people around who live around crocodile-infested areas. So penalizing could cause more deaths of crocodiles. So I don't know. This should be done very carefully. So maybe there should be a method of getting people to inform the department and to come and take a look at the situation, assess the situation, and also give proper solutions and making translocation and capturing crocodiles as a last resort. Yeah. So implementing strict laws can have has two sides for the story. Yeah. Individually, it's very hard. It's very hard to do that. It can be very confusing because most of the time you see animals, you see just part of the head, like only the eyes and nostril, and not the whole body. So in some parts of some of the tidal rivers I've surveyed, I know where some big animals live, and I know where some animals roam around. So apart from that, it's just it's not it's a bit hard. Yeah, Ruksha.
Is the population of mothers in Sri Lanka declining? Is it a declining population? Is it stable or what?
Well, looking at reports that were published from 1970, like I said, none of them are reliable standardized studies. But anyway, looking at those studies, there seems to be an increase. Yeah.
The time that you're doing surveys and that time.
Yeah.
So the second question is Sri Lanka then the stronghold for the mother crocodile in its entire range? That is what I've heard. Is that your experience?
Yeah, so the mugger crocodiles are distributed only in South Asia. If you look at the whole distribution in the world, they're extinct from Bangladesh, they're extinct from Bhutan, and we still need to confirm the presence of them in Myanmar. There are pockets of populations in Iran, Pakistan, and they're distributed all throughout India as well. And Sri Lanka is like the last biological refugium for these animals, and we have very healthy population, very healthy habitats under protected area. So I think this has helped animals recover from 1964 to population that's very high. And I think Dr. Anselm and Charles Santipille have regarded Katagamo tank in Yala and also Korawakkoya as one of the most highest densities of muggers in the world. Yeah. And I think more night counts need to be done in these areas to come at that conclusion. And it's the same thing with India also, because they have not been doing proper surveys as well. But now there's a group of scientists under Raju Vyas that's doing some really good work on mugger counts in India. Yeah.
I do think crocodiles have evolved over time because they are really,
Sorry, ma'am, I can't. Pardon?
they have the same physical feature over millions of years. Okay. Why is that they have not evolved like that?
No, I missed the most important part of your
They are the
question.
same for 100 million years. Why haven't they evolved from that?
Yeah, they have evolved. I think they have reached the ultimate design to survive, and yeah, I think that's the only reason. So we got this ultimate design of us quite recently, 200,000 years ago, and I think both us and the crocodiles are two marvelous species of evolution. Yeah, and we managed to conquer the whole world, and the crocodiles around all over the world as well. Yeah. And there's a conflict between two marvelous species. Yeah. Yes.
You mentioned Patagam is one of the places
Yes.
high density of our population.
Yeah.
And I noticed people go fishing waste in this tank. And they say due to some divine intervention. And there have been never attacks of crocodiles. Whereas Yala, the tanks close by, people have been killed in that problem. How do you explain this?
Well, muggers are generally regarded as much social animals than salties. But there are 8 crocodiles in the world that have been identified to involve in unprovoked attacks, which is so mugger is one of them. So I think most crocodiles, the small ones, are happy with having their normal food, and I think they tolerate presence of humans or any other animal around them. Whereas in salties, like I explained earlier, would attack but without no reason, just because there is something in its territory. Yeah. So, but like I explained earlier, there's about 34% of mugger attacks compared with salties. So we shouldn't take that as a small number. Yeah. And the situation in Katagamua, uh, is the same attitude what people have around the dry zone. They think that muggers are less aggressive than other crocodiles, and they even in Anuradhapura, Eastern Province, and even in Tisa Maharama, they just don't care. They wade while looking at the crocodile across the other bank. Even if they get to the water, they'll just continue bathing. And yeah, so people around saltwater crocodile habitats also do this, like in the Eastern Province, like I showed you earlier, and Wallaga River. So yeah, people also have false beliefs among themselves that they have certain powers, and they use mantras to that they are able to keep crocodiles away. One instance is there's this 96-year-old man in Ilva River that I came across. Uh, he's the only one in that part of the river that bathes in an unsafe area, and right in front of the area where he bathes on opposite side, a 12-year-old boy was killed, and they couldn't even find the body. It was such a big crocodile, and that whole the place he lives, his neighborhood, everybody has pump water, and they're using showers and tap line properly. But he's the only person that goes and bathes, and he's quite proud of it. He was showing paper articles to me, saying that he's the only one bathing, and I said, I actually blasted him. My team and I, we blasted him. We told him how irresponsible he is because he has great grandchildren, and it can be a bad example for them too. And they might even start using the river like that. He was saying that he has a specific mantra that he uses, and he has been protected by it over that time. Yeah.
How big do they actually get?
So right now, the most reliable record for the length of the longest animal is 20.3 from Philippines. He was actually caught recently from the Philippines. It's called Lolong. And the largest mugger from Sri Lanka reached up to about 18 feet. I think that was during the Aranegala's time. And the largest salty from Sri Lanka also was from Jaila, reached about 18.5 feet or so. But I believe there are much more bigger ones. So I've come across them in my study site, and I have some of my colleagues who are working in Ratmalana, and they have told me that there are some big ones in that area as well. Yeah.
In Bundala also there are some very big ones.
Bundala.
Like,
Yeah, and I think those are some of the translocated animals in Bundala. That's like a famous spot where the department will catch animals and translocate them. Yeah. Is there any other questions? Can I just quickly run through the identification? Do you think there's time for everyone? Yeah? I think that's very important for mitigation and all that. So this is a mugger crocodile. And there are several characters that you can remember to distinct the two species. One main thing is color. Mugger crocodiles will have a uniform black or gray color with black spots or dull spots on the body. But generally, as they grow bigger and bigger, they lose its colors and become a dull gray color, like this specimen over here. Although it's not uncommon to find animals with bright black spots also. But you will not see at any time, any point, yellow in a mugger crocodile. You see creamish color, whitish color, but not yellow. And then one character from the head you can look is, if you draw a line from the eye to the nostril, you see like it's not concave, it's like almost flat, and it's slanted downwards. And that's one way of telling muggers. And mugger crocodiles, not like saltwater crocodiles, have post-occipital scutes. They have a pair of post-occipital scutes. There's a well-developed post-occipital scutes right behind the line of the head. And that's like the major character that you need to remember in mugger crocodiles. You can't confuse with any saltwater crocodile if you look at this part of the head of the animal. And then also the distance between the four tooth. In fact, that's the most broadest point of the snout, is exactly half of the head length. So if you multiply the head length by 7.5, you get the total length. So if you multiply that bit of the snout, you can get the total length of the animal. Multiply by 15, you get the total length of the animal. It's a good way. So mugger crocodiles are regarded as brevirostrines because they have much broader snouts. They fall into that category of having broader snouts. Saltwater crocodiles have very narrow snouts. And the lateral aspect, if you draw a line from the axilla to groin, the dorsal scutes will come closer to that midline and also sometimes might extend downwards. So they have 7 to 8 rows of dorsal scutes on top of the body, whereas salties will have about 5 to 6. And the behavior is also unique. These animals are able to estivate during the dry season, and this is a burrow in Vilpattu, and this is the same burrow, the pictures of the same burrow. And these animals, although unlike hibernation, they do come out at night and start feeding and move around. They stay inside the burrow, stay dormant inside the burrow only during the day, for a period of about 5-6 months or so during the peak dry season. Like I said earlier, they lay eggs in burrows about 20 to 30 centimeters deep, and hatches in about 2 months. So the best time to see baby muggers is from August, September onwards in national parks, if you are looking for them. And then the Gatakimbula, or the saltwater crocodile, can be identified easily by drawing a line across from the eye to the nostril, and you see like a concave shape of that if you look from the lateral side. And you can see the color of this adult saltwater crocodile. They have a yellow tint, and this is there throughout from a young animal to an adult animal. Some animals might lose a bit of pigment, but then again can check other characters, and also they will have clearly well distinct black spots over a shade of yellow. And older animals might lose pigments on the body, but the snout might have a yellowish whitish color around them. So I mentioned about the post-occipital scutes earlier. Keep that in mind. Another way of telling the difference between mugger and a salty is salties have internally a ridge that's between the eye and the nostril. So these start from the eye and continuous towards the nostril of the animal. You don't find this ridge in mugger crocodiles at all. And you can see this very well developed in salties. If you happen to see a salty where there are mugger crocodiles, this is the best character. You can take a look through binoculars or a photograph. Zoom in, you'll see the ridges coming out. And so the Gatakimbula doesn't have gata, right? So the mugger crocodile has the scutes, the post-occipital scutes, but the saltwater crocodile doesn't have those. There could be primitive small scutes, very underdeveloped scutes around behind in the post-occipital area, but not as developed as mugger crocodiles. And the lateral aspect, these animals have like 5 to 6 rows of dorsal scutes, and they don't extend beyond the midline, or doesn't even get closer towards the midline. And you can see the yellow color in the belly, and also the black circular blotches on the body. That's also very important in identifying the animals. And this animal is in fact from Handunoro in Yala, that appeared from nowhere. Yeah. And it lays eggs in mound nests. That's about 1 meter high, and makes a wallow around the nest that uses its tail to throw the water and keeps the nest moistened. Uh, and the incubation period is about 3 months. So the best time to see young juveniles coming out is from September onwards till November. You see a massive hike of numbers of juveniles during the rainy season. Yeah, and eggs can be from 10 to about 60 or so, and season is about from May to August. So those are the important things. Any questions regarding this that you will need to? These are some of the basic characters that you need to understand. Yeah.
Are there any burrowing habits
Saltwater crocodiles? Not really. No. Yeah. Although I've come across several instances where they would just randomly dig in to land areas, but nobody really knows like why they do it, and it's just not a temporary hiding place or anything. Yeah, they just do it. Yeah. Yeah, like I just explained that earlier. There's some parts in Bundula and Yala, and also in the Eastern Province. Eastern Province is yet to be proven, like where exactly they coexist. But my observations have been in Bundula and Yala, where they do. But it could be induced, and we still don't know if the animals would come from the animals that travel from south to east or east to south would stop by in Yala coastline or Bundula estuary, Bundula lagoon areas. Yeah.
Can people hear me? I don't think you really need a mic. The number of people we need to thank before I thank Dinal. Nations Trust back to the support. Server Advertising Agency for assisting with the creative. Pro email for video coverage. Edited files will be on our WMTS website next week. Hilma tea for the tea outside as well as the gift to Dinal. The next lecture will be at DBU. The speaker will be announced. I need to thank Dinal apart from giving today's lecture, he's also working on an area which is not considered very sexy. Elephants and leopards and birds and are very interesting subjects, but when you talk about crocodile, everyone is like running for shelter. And the awareness he's creating, I think, goes a long way in conservation of these beautiful animals. And also, I think, Dinal, we need to thank you for something else. You were actually supposed to have given the lecture last month, but you happily moved it to this month to permit another speaker to speak last month. So thank you very much, Dinal.